Hello, welcome to Hearts Standard. My name's Craig Cairns. I'm here with editor Joel Sked, and we've just been in Tynecastle Park for Neil Critchley's first press conference as head coach of Hearts. And just first of all, Joel, what were your first impressions on what we heard in there?
Yeah, I thought it went pretty smoothly. It's everything I expected from Neil Critchley from the interviews I've heard. Heard him speaking, whether it was at Queen's Park Rangers or Blackpool, and from what I've heard of fans of Queen's Park Rangers and Blackpool have spoken about, is what I expected. He was quite calm. I think he considered questions. He took his time, not took his time answering, but he certainly seemed to be keen to choose his words correctly. Thoughtful answers, yes. So rather than just kind of saying the first thing that comes to his head, which I do when a microphone's put in front of me. So I thought that was good. I did think he was pretty clear. Obviously, people have only seen what they brought. So if you've watched our YouTube video of Andrew McKinlay and Neil Critchley, that was kind of just the broadcast stuff. So we spoke to him for the written press afterwards as well. So that stuff will be coming over the next couple of days. And again, he was very similar. I don't think he's the type of guy who's going to give too much away. I don't think he's going to be the type of guy who's going to get too high or too low as well. I think he'll probably play a lot of stuff down, but in a way that's it doesn't really matter as long as you win a game. Who cares how you come across in the press?
That was one of the things that stood out to me, though, that he did. He was asked questions to do with ambition and all these kind of things, and he was, I know it's quite a cliche in football management, he was always quick to bring it back to, we just need to win football matches. My focus is on St Mirren on Saturday. I think that was the important thing to do. I think especially with the way it's fine if you're coming in at a position with Hearts at a position of strength, you can probably set longer term aims. At the moment, I think every Hearts fan knows, need to wait at St Mirren on Saturday. Ammonia and Nicosia is a bit different, but then you need to certainly not lose at Hibs the following week. I would say it's more in the win category. So that's all it was, and I'm glad he probably did look at it that way, that his focus was on the short term, because that's what it should be at the moment. We spoke about it in the video we did yesterday. There's a lot of fans who are thinking we should probably get a manager who is kind of for the short term, and then you bring someone else in for the longer term at a stronger, with the team in a stronger position. But his focus was very much on working with players this week and then starting strongly against St Mirren, which it should be, and I think that was good. Just kind of on that, I mean, I wonder whether the way that contracts seem to be structured now, we know that the last management team, they had like a sort of 3-month buyout period either way and that kind of thing, and you wonder now that, okay, that's an X length of contract, but that doesn't mean that we're necessarily going to have to pay all that up if it goes wrong, or we get to the end of the season and we get to a certain level and then we think, well, now we should sort of cut our losses here and then move on to the next kind of. So I don't think, kind of going back to some of the sort of negativity around the appointment, I think it's not as final as it kind of seems, if you see what I mean. You can make a mistake and then, I know we're in a bit of a desperate situation at the moment, but you can make a mistake and then readdress it further down the line and things like that. I know this doesn't really wash when we're sort of bottom of the table.
I was going to say also the guy's just in the door. No, I absolutely. I think you've seen it with just the way contracts are. It's people think, people see. I think it's more with players when you're thinking, 4 years, you're wrapped in for 4 years. Yeah, but with managers, exactly. there's always different clauses. But
and they can leave if they do well. They can leave. Exactly, I mean, he did that one of his last jobs as well. I mean, I didn't go down too well at Blackpool, but he left for an assistant manager's job, and
apparently had a 7-figure release clause when he was at Blackpool as well. So so it's one where I think on both sides they're protected. Hopefully it's the latter, where he does so well that he's looked at down south and people want to give him a job, because that means he's been a success, and I think that's all Hearts fans want.
There's a few questions in there for Andrew McKinlay as well. There's obviously been a lot made about the process with the introduction of analytics and things like that. First of all, you can ask a few questions about the process. What did you make of his response to those? Yeah, I knew he wasn't going to give too much away, because I know one of the other journalists, he asked about what the analytics, what were they looking for? What were they looking for the analytics to provide? And it was very much a manager who is good at developing talent. And I do think another aspect was who has been in a job before where they've improved a team, which Neil Critchley has with Blackpool. But I think the big thing is his background is in player development, making players better, working with them on the training ground. I know Hearts are in Europe, so it's a wee bit, especially now the schedule is kind of went up a notch, and we're going to be playing games, kind of 2 games a week. But like looking longer term, he's going to get more time on the training ground to improve players. So yeah, he basically, McKinlay clarified what they were looking for analytics wise. I asked about what specific data they look at, expecting not to get too much back.
He mentioned the word black box, didn't he?
Exactly,
which is
black box.
Highly secretive information that he probably doesn't know all of.
So yeah, I knew there was going to be it's a guarded secret. We've written about it, so we didn't get too much of insight into that. There was more insight into the process. Knew that they had they'd spoken to him a couple of times. He said that he was the preferred candidate. I know we'll come on to talk about that maybe shortly. Graham Jones was very key in it, and I think that's been an important aspect of the process, was that the Scottish FA allowed him to work with Hearts before he actually starts next month. And I think it's really important because the person who comes in has to work with Graham Jones going forward, has to work within the model of the club. And I actually found one of the things I found really interesting was McKinlay, when he was asked about the process, he spoke about, I'm paraphrasing here, but he spoke about names that have been mentioned both in the UK and abroad who are not good at work, who don't like to work in the sporting director
We
model.
Spoke about it in one of our previous videos, where he was kind of ruling out Derek McInnes without mentioning Derek McInnes.
Exactly.
Managers of that ilk.
Yeah, so that's, I think he kind of put it was like a firm answer on that side of things, and that's the big thing. There are sporting director kind of model at the club, as well as the analytics, and whoever came in had to buy into that, maybe had to be comfortable with that. Neil Critchley has, because he has he's worked in Liverpool where there's a lot of data, and he's worked at clubs that are sporting directors, so Queen's Park Rangers, for example. So yeah, it was, in terms of what he said about the process, there was some interesting aspects of it and kind of what it was expected. I think he said the deal was finally signed last night, but I think it was over the weekend that it was agreed that he'd become the manager.
Yeah, and one of the other interesting things, if not the most interesting point of the press conference, was when Andrew McKinlay was asked about other candidates. There was obviously reports last week that Hogmo had been offered the job, was leading candidate. He seemed to kibosh a few of those things. I mean, I think there might be a bit of a semantic game going on here.
I think so,
I think we can conclude that they were talking to Hogmo, but he said that we didn't negotiate with anybody else. So I think he's maybe, reading between the lines, he's maybe saying that they had informal talks with other candidates, but Critchley's the only one that they entered formal negotiations with. That's kind of what it sounded like.
Yes, so I think we'd maybe give him trying to speak for McKinlay because he did say, so in one answer he talked about the
concurrent negotiation
concurrent talks with agents. So they're obviously talking to different agents because they wanted to speak to different candidates. And then
you don't put all your eggs in one basket. That's folly, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. You don't put all your eggs in one basket, because, like you said, things can fall through, and then you're back to the drawing board.
With Scotland with Michael O'Neill a few years ago. Exactly. So, and then he kind of almost contradicted himself, where we had no negotiations with any manager. I think you're right. I think he was kind of speaking around it. Again, probably didn't want to try not to kind of disrespect the man sitting next to him. Of course, yeah.
So I would imagine there were talks with Per Matthias Hogmo, but whether and it's again the difference between negotiations, talks, offers. It will be. I think it will be. He wouldn't be final on that, and you're never going to have him say exactly that.
Exactly. There's some of that stuff that always stays behind closed doors. Yeah. One of the other things, to go back to Critchley, one of the other things he was asked about was his spells at
Blackpool and QPR. He didn't mention QPR in the answer.
No.
And I think he gave... I mean, this was obviously asked because of a lot of the criticism that's been levelled at the appointment has been the recent jobs he's had, and one of those, the recent one at Blackpool, and on the face of it, didn't look like it ended that well. A lot of the Blackpool fans were happy to see the back of him, but he kind of had a different view on it. He gave a few answers and reasons as to why it was actually a positive season for them. They had come down, got relegated, they had rebuilt the squad after 17 players had left, just missed out on the playoffs. He mentioned a couple other results that they got. Was that the kind of answer that you were expecting from him, to kind of spin that back round the way he did?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. And so again, in the written the embargo thing, I asked him again about his experiences and what he's learned from him, and he did speak about QPR, so you'll get a bit more there. But again, he kind of looked at it from a positive aspect. He wasn't. Again, I suppose that's a good thing mindset wise or mentality wise, that you look back at these,
and that's how he would have sold himself to the board as
exactly.
well. He's not going to go in there and say, yes, I mean, sometimes managers will admit failure and what they've learned from mistakes and things like that, but he's not going to go in and say, I've failed at my last job. He's going to put positive spins on it and things like that.
And we will look at his people will look at his win records and look at being sacked, but with jobs there's always context.
Exactly.
Always context.
And the context of what he went into, both spells with Blackpool, were different.
I found that interesting. Found an interesting point of view, but he did say about how those spells, and I think he used the word adversity, helped him and made him stronger as a manager. And I think this is something that we kind of touched on in our video yesterday, where I know we talked about it off air, is that just different cultures. For example, you go to Italy and managers are used to getting sacked, but just because they view it as a positive, it's an experience, and they come back. I think Maurizio Sarri was the big one, where he failed loads of times, and then it was only until he was older he was a better manager. So I'm hopeful that Hearts are getting a better manager than the Neil Critchley who was at Blackpool in his first spell, and I'm looking at it from a very, very positive way. I think it's the best way to be, maybe. So yeah, I think it was his view was interesting, and I'm probably a wee bit more optimistic now than maybe before. I don't know if you feel the same way, or how you felt he came across.
Well, I was saying to you, I mean, I don't think I'm any more positive after the press conference, but I was saying to you that I initially was not as bad as some of the people online, but I was initially a bit, I'm not sure about this. And then after I did a bit more digging and saw more context for his last couple of jobs and stuff, I think I came round to the idea more. I'm definitely more positive about it. I don't think there was anything there that swayed me either way from that, but yeah, I mean, so you're saying you're feeling more positive from it?
Yeah, I think so. I just having kind of met him now and listened to him, and I'm just hopeful that I just look at his background in developing players, and my key is I just hope he gets off to a good start. And I think if he gets off to a good start, I think he can be positive. I'd be again looking. I want to look longer term, and just I'm interested to see how he develops the squad, what kind of players he brings in.
What his first lineup's going to be.
What his first lineup's going to be. Again, we'll speak to him on Friday and kind of look into that kind of side of things, and just kind of what people can expect over the next couple of days. I asked him about his backroom staff, so there's a wee bit on that. He got asked about his style, asked about why Hearts, and then also why how he'll deal with the pressure coming up here. But yeah, I don't know if it's just I don't know if it's me forcing myself to be positive. I do feel a bit better from him. I just hope Hearts fans kind of buy in and get behind him. And I think it was the Gorgie Ultras tweeted.
Good to see.
Yeah, the Ultras tweeted about back the team, back the manager, and I just hope that's a mindset going forward, because again, people can be negative online, but
you can have your opinion and stuff, but you still want to ultimately turn up and support the team and the manager.
That's it, and that's what Hearts fans have done this season. That's like
Aberdeen. Look at Aberdeen.
Yeah, we talk about or have a laugh about Hearts fans, and it's been a difficult place to play, and they can get on your
your back quickly and moan. I don't think that's been the case as much, especially with the Gorgie Ultras coming in, and I think there's been a much more positive atmosphere, especially at Tynecastle, a more patient atmosphere. I know fans there was moments where there was a bit of frustration with Stephen Naismith, and it did get to that point because we had the worst start to the season ever. But during the 90 minutes, Hearts fans have been really, really supportive, and I think that's going to be the case on Saturday. Just hopefully we get off to a really good start and win our first league game.
Fingers crossed. Yes, we will be back before then, I'm sure. As Joel said, there's going to be plenty of stuff going up on Hearts Standard over the next few days from this press conference, other analysis and things like that. That's at heartsstandard.co.uk. If you haven't already, please subscribe, hit that wee bell so you get a notification every time we do a video, and we'll see you all soon.